Most anti-theist arguments aren't wrong because they're evil. They're wrong because they're shallow. In this video, I'm ranking every mainstream anti-theist argument, and only one of them actually deserves serious recognition. The tiers will be as follows: strong for arguments that command respect, flawed for arguments that have some logic behind them, negative IQ for arguments that go against the idea that humans can be classified as an intelligent life form, and abyss for arguments born out of immorality. Who created God? This argument shows a complete misunderstanding of the reasoning for a creator. A creator is necessary exactly because we know that everything that begins has a cause, and we run into the issue of what caused the first cause, resulting in an infinite regression. Therefore, an uncaused first cause isn't an opinion, it's a necessity. Proof that the beginning is a miracle in and of itself. A common rebuttal to this is that the matter of the universe is eternal, which aside from being an unlikely theory given decay, it still runs into the issue of infinite regress to explain the beginning of change. Negative IQ. I believe in science/evolution. Evolution isn't relevant to the theism debate because texts like Genesis don't have to be read literally, and science describes processes. It cannot explain why there is something rather than nothing. That question is philosophical, not scientific. Treating science as if it can answer every category of question is not science, it's scientism. Negative IQ. You deny thousands of gods, I just go one further. This one is just sad. This is the equivalent of saying, you deny that 2 + 2 has any answer other than 4, I just go one further and say 2 + 2 has no answer. Theism rejects false gods for the same reason atheism should reject false explanations. Because they're false. Not because there are too many of them. Bottom of negative IQ. Rhetorically catchy, philosophically empty. The God of the Gaps fallacy. This argument misrepresents theism as just trying to explain away things that they don't yet or can't have an explanation for. It ignores situations where God isn't a convenient explanation, but rather the only possible one, such as the miracle of creation. It's not that we can't explain the origin of everything. It's that there's only one logical, non-contradictory explanation. God is not an explanation that competes with scientific explanations. He is the precondition for any explanation existing at all. Flawed here. Lack of empirical evidence. This is just an empiricism fallacy. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Not all rational beliefs are empirically testable. Meaning, morality, logic, and causation itself aren't discovered through lab experiments. We can reason from contingency, causation, and intelligibility, none of which are discovered through microscopes. Flawed here. The Omnipotence Paradox. Can God create a stone so heavy he cannot lift it? This is an argument by changing definitions. You've decided that omnipotence means being able to contradict himself and bring in illogical nonsense. Logic is upheld by God as a great good. Omnipotence means the ability to do all that is logically possible, not to perform contradictions masquerading as tasks. This argument is rhetoric masquerading as logic. Negative IQ. The Euthyphro Dilemma. Is something good because God commands it? Or does God command it because it is good? The dilemma assumes goodness exists independently of God. Classical theism rejects that premise. Since he's the creator, he creates in accordance with his will. The opposite would be illogical. So, the dilemma can be rewritten as, is God's will his will because God wills it? Or does God will it because he wills it? Which is just babble. Negative IQ. The problem of divine hiddenness. This argument assumes that God's primary objective is to be known and worshipped. It isn't. Different religions make different claims, but from a Christian perspective, if God made his existence and therefore power as undeniable as gravity, belief would be coerced, not chosen. This isn't about making belief difficult, it's about making relationships possible. A relational God would require freedom for those with whom he has a relationship. God is hidden not to be unreachable, but to not overwhelm. The evidence is sufficient for those who seek honestly, but ambiguous enough for those who don't. That's not a flaw, it's a feature. Flawed here. God is a psychological crutch for those who fear oblivion. This argument fails the test of reversibility. I can just as easily say atheism is a psychological crutch for those who fear consequences. Historically, explicitly atheist regimes have produced levels of coercion and mass death unmatched by even the cruelest religious systems. Explaining belief away by alleged motives avoids the question of truth entirely. That's why this isn't an argument, it's an evasion, a bis-tier. The problem of evil. A lot of theists hand-wave this argument away with philosophical explanations such as free will. But I want to give this argument the credit it deserves. Because if God's will is goodness itself, and He alone created the world, why is there evil? Is that not contrary to His will? This undermines every other argument I've made in this video. It's the limit of philosophy. I can give you 100 theories for why evil exists, but that will never satisfy someone who just lost a loved one, or who is plagued by horrifying disease, or who suffered incredible mistreatment. This is where philosophy ends and religion starts. Strong tier. Lots of religions try to answer the problem of evil, which is not within the scope of this video. But only one has a God that became man so He may bear it with us, die to it, and overcome it, resulting in a greater good than if no evil were ever present. That concludes this tier list. If you think I ranked any of these incorrectly, especially the strong tier, tell me which one and why. If there are any others you would like to see, share them in the comments below.